Welcome back to some more Layers of Darkness. Last time we finally made it out of the future segment, and honestly, it didn't take nearly as long as I expected to. It feels like every time I play through the game, the future takes less time to get through. This time, well, we're finally back to the normal world, so figure out what the hell to do next. So weird seeing like the tone shift back to normal now that you're out of the future. I mean, the situation is still dire, but like it's immediately just so much more like colorful and happy, you know? Oh baby, enter. Finally, a nice fucking place to stay. I feel like the Sharpedo Bluff here is another location that it's like one of the most recognizable things from this game, I feel like, is Sharpedo Bluff. And I mean, part of me wants to say it's just because it's like one of the very first things that appears in the opening cutscene. Considering, so many people who quote-unquote played this game never even played far enough into the post-game to, actually see this place anymore. Or, you start seeing it here as well. I mean, it's a pretty damn nice place. I'm not exactly sure why Chico would be okay with living in the guild's shitty little dorm than just staying here, but whatever. I mean, no, I guess if we're members of the guild, we have to stay in the dorm, even though it sucks. Not quite sure why, but whatever. I guess it's like boot camp or something, I don't know. I probably should go back to pointing out the whole planets paralysis thing, because it happens so often, and also, here's a little secret. It actually makes it easier for me to catch them when I am going back and editing the videos. I don't know, it feels like the soul is missing when I don't point it out, you know? I mean, I don't know. I definitely have lost track at this point. We're probably around like 20 or some shit already. Which, I mean, kind of proves my point that they really love to just spam specific phrases in the writing for some reason. I also kind of forgot this was a whole, like, function of the dimensional screams, that it only works in a circumstance like that. I really hate this explanation here, by the way, where they're explaining that the dimensional scream only triggers in relation to time gears, and they go, well, yeah, I guess it just worked different in the past, and whatever. I feel like the only reason I did that is just so it wouldn't work in the future, so, couldn't have the dimensional scream just, like, show you a way out or something. I feel like that's really, lazy. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better if they still make the dimensional screen work, but it just gives you, like, nothing useful or some shit. I don't know. It just comes off as really, really lazy and, like, a hand wave to just explain why you couldn't use it here in this situation. It's also a little weird that the dimensional screen ever had a whole feature where it only works in relation to time gears in the first place. I don't get it. I don't really know why they felt the need to, like, elaborate on this. Maybe it's, like, something they caught near the end of writing the game and just kind of had to, like, throw it in without thinking about it very much. I don't know. There's another one, by the way. Shit, a whole lot of turbulence. I do wonder why, you know, any of that happened. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll just never know, really. There's another one, by the way. I'm gonna be real, this is a pretty fucked up situation on Grovile's end, where you finally meet up with, like, your lifelong best friend, except he looks completely different and has no memories anymore and doesn't know who you are anymore. Like, that's really fucked up if you stop and think about it. It's kind of debatable if it's even the same person at that point, in a way, you know? Another one, by the way. Okay, I can, you know, maybe I don't have a point with the whole Planets Paralysis counter thing, because, I mean, like, I'm giving the writers some shit for just using certain phrases over and over to the point where they sound weird, but at the same time, it's like, if anything, it's sort of like a proper noun, almost. I mean, you know, not capitalized like a proper noun, but the term Planets Paralysis is, like, a specific, like, phenomenon that's very important to the story, so, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, you know, being super nitpicky and, like, retarded or something, but... Well, we're in too deep now to just stop it, you know? Oh, look. It's the scene from the opening. Oh, man. That's too good, man. I love it. Oh yeah, that thing, the relic fragment. I want to say this is the very first time this has even appeared for, like... I mean, it's been a really long time. I don't remember if you ever pull it out in the guild, or the last time the relic fragment gets mentioned is, like, on the beach after you clear Beach Cave, but... There's just a huge chunk of the game where they kind of don't ever mention the relic fragment again, and I mean, it's not really relevant yet. Hint, by the way, you know. Not really relevant yet, so there's not much purpose before now to bring it up again, I suppose. I don't know. Another waterfall flashback, by the way. Quicksand? No, Groudon. Damn. I was so excited for another jumping into quicksand flashback as well. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna have to say it again because the song is playing again. Of course, I fucking love the song, and any scene that has the song play. This is like the one song from this game that always gets me when I hear it. Grovyle getting fucking friend-cucked by Chico. That is absolutely embarrassing. No, I probably shouldn't break the dramatic tension by saying stupid shit, but I'm, you know, going to anyways. You know, I find it a little strange that the Tree Shroud Forest time gear is apparently unguarded. Considering, you know, we now know the severity of all the time gears and how important they are, yet that one just kind of, you know, goes unguarded. I want to say that might be the only one that ever has just no, like, nothing guarding it at all whatsoever, except for the one time gear that appears in, like, the volcano, which I mentioned a long time ago. Like, is the one time gear where we never actually see specifically where it is or see any information about it. Right, oh boy, this is gonna be a long episode, isn't it, huh? We're 12 minutes in, and only now just getting to the dungeon, and I'm just gonna say, this dungeon is gonna fucking suck. This is easily one of the most annoying dungeons in the main story. This dungeon is a pain in the... Oh, goddamn. Speaking of pains in my ass, it finally happened. We hit max storage space. I can't put any more shit in there. Uh-oh. Well, let's just quickly go through and throw some crap away. The, Omniscopes. Like, we're never using any of this crap. Let's be completely real here. But now the inventory's full. Goddamn. There's so many of these duplicate held items that we're never going to use in the first place, but I have a really bad habit of hanging on to crap in the inventory, even when I know I'm never going to use it. I like to have at least one of everything in the storage, you know. We have, like, no rocks left, goddamn. Please tell me there's some more. Nope, just a bunch of pebbles, great. Well, I guess we're equipped well enough. We should take some more... Ooh, we got for, like, XI seeds and stuff. We don't have fucking any. Oh boy, this is gonna be a doozy. No, this is one of the worst dungeons in the game, if you ask me. Or I should say, it's one of the most annoying dungeons before you beat the game. This dungeon is easily the longest. It's around, like, 20-ish floors of torture. And I don't mean 20, like, what we had for Quicksand Cave and Quicksand Pit, where it's 10 floors with a break in the middle and then another 10. No, this is our first dungeon of just 20 uninterrupted floors of cock and ball torture. So this dungeon is very long. The song that plays in this dungeon is just extremely droning and grating after a little while. Also, there are very few enemies. I don't believe any floor of this dungeon has any more than, like, 5 enemies. 5 unique species that will spawn at a time. So, it's gonna get repetitive very, very quickly. I guess Grovyle's here again, for whatever that's worth. Also, I'm gonna be real, I kind of forget that Chico even had Synthesis, because I'm not sure she's ever used it. I mean, she has Status Checker, right? Yeah, she does. Well, I mean, she's in the back. I'm usually the one getting beat up in the front, you know, so... Makes some sense that she is rarely ever getting an opportunity to attack. Anyway, let's just move on. Yeah, there's This dungeon is really annoying, in my opinion, but there's also just not even anything really, like, sensational to say about it. There's not, like, any kind of single thing that makes this dungeon suck, that makes it really interesting to talk about, you know? It's just, like, this dungeon is really long, it's really boring, the song is annoying, like, that's kind of it. I'm not sure why you felt the need to energy ball that Kadabra, but sure. We're also going to be fighting a lot more. Did the Houndoom really go down? 68 damage? Wow. I remembered the Houndooms being more of a pain, but no, they just die instantly, I guess. But there's just not anything super noteworthy to say about this dungeon. So I guess I'll think of other stuff to talk about. Well, the big one I can say is that a few days ago, I went to a convention for the first time. There's like a local game convention I went to with some buds, and it was a damn good time. I was looking around at all the booths, people selling their, you know, handmade, custom, like, merch and stuff for all sorts of different video games. I didn't take a picture of it, but I did see, there's one person selling a bunch of handmade art, and they had, like, an Explorers the Sky themed art piece that was very nice, and, you know, to the surprise of no one, I had Shinx and Riolu on it, but it was a nice piece of art. I can also quickly show on the side here, the one thing I actually decided to buy, there's a little acrylic, not acrylic, but like, perler beads, I think they are, a little standee Porygon that somebody made. I grabbed that on my way out, because I figured, you know, might as well get something while I'm there, and also, you know, it had the Mystery Dungeon sprite for Porygon, and believe it or not, I'm a big sucker for Mystery Dungeon, so I was sold pretty quickly. Protect TM, by the way. I highly doubt I'm gonna have use for this, but I guess I'll take it. Anyway, yeah, that person who sold me that little Porygon standee, very cute, by the way, they also had a, god damn it. Fucking stupid bastards. Stop it, Grovyle. Well, they also had a little standee of Ditto, I remember, that also used the PMD sprite, and I thought about getting that one, but it was a little more expensive. Still was very nice looking, though. Cool stuff. Was a fun convention. Got to play some games with people that had a whole bunch of, like, free-play little, like, consoles and, like, little emulation machines that the organizers had set up. It was a great time. Met some very nice people. Made some good friends. It was all a good time. There's some other stuff there as well. There's like a high score convention. There's like a high score competition for a few games. I remember one of them was for F-Zero GX, which is a game I only played a little bit. It was a little competition to like get the fastest time in a time trial on a certain map, and I would have participated, but I've played, like, GBA and SNES F-Zero far more than I have GX, and I also honestly prefer them to GX. I've rarely played any GX, but if I had actually, like, played it more so, I definitely would have given it a shot at the high score stuff. They also had, next to it was a high score contest for Ikaruga, which is, like, I think some shmup on, like, the GameCube or something. I didn't play that one either, because I've never really played Ikaruga, but I'm aware of it. I've heard it's apparently a hidden gem. Not that I really give a shit about GameCube games, I'm gonna be brutally honest. GameCube does, like, absolutely nothing for me. It bores me. And I can't think of a single game on there that I'd actually want to play. And you better not go into the comments and say something about, oh, what about, like, Pokemon Coliseum and, like, XD? What a fucking about those games. They suck, but besides the point. Trying to think. There's also some cosplayers. There's like a cosplay competition. The one guy in particular I definitely remember. There was a guy dressed as Professor Oak from, you know, Pokemon, of course, and he was just carrying around like a wheelbarrow that had the Kanto starters in them, like, you know, plushes. Cool stuff. Oh, also, you know what's cool? I didn't realize Grovyle had IQ yet. PP Saver activated. I don't know if either Torchic or Chikorita are in the IQ group to get PP Saver, but it's a pretty good one. It's like an 8-ish% chance. I think I saw it said 8% chance that every time you use a move, you have that chance to just not consume any PP. Which is obviously very good. PP Saver is pretty great. I know there's another one called, like... Oh my god, where'd my health bar just go? No, it's not called that. There's another one it's called, like, Energy Saver, or, like, Deep Breather, or something like that. It makes it so when you go into a floor, there's a chance that, like, all of your moves get +1 PP restored, which is another one that's obviously, like, very good. Oh yeah, and I also want to say this is the first time this has actually happened in the playthrough, but as you can see here, if you have 100 belly and you try to eat food, you actually will get a max belly size increase, interestingly enough. Jeez, Alakazam is already showing up. I find it so strange that Kadabra and Alakazam are apparently tankier than Houndoom, even though, you know, Alakazam's entire thing is that it is as durable as, like, wet paper. It has, like, no defenses and will just die if you hit it. So I'm not sure why it's so much tankier than Houndoom here, but whatever. Oh boy, the fucking inventory is full again. Now we're finally... It didn't happen in the middle of the future, but rather it happened right after. We're finally at the point where now it's going to start being a major annoyance dealing with storage space, but I don't remember if we're going to be getting any free time left throughout the playthrough, but if we do, it will be enough to get gold rank pretty shortly. I want to say Tree Shroud Forest is finally the end of this whole, like, future little mini arc that happens where you're just away from the guild, and after this we should get a little bit of free time, but just not very much. But, you know, it's better than nothing. I know it's not worth it to be picking up these boxes, man, but I know I'm never going to use it to protect DM, but there's a chance that something will happen with that, you know, box. Maybe there'll be something, might as well take it. Anyway, something else worth mentioning, maybe, is that Ninetales appears in this dungeon, which is significant more so because, as we saw last time, Vulpix spawned as an enemy in the future, which is weird because in Explorers of Sky, you know, Vulpix is now a starter, which means it does not actually spawn in that dungeon anymore. And so there... Excuse me, can I hit my attacks, please? I'm gonna run out of PP. Well, no, I'm only halfway gone. But, what was I saying? Yeah, Vulpix, you know, does not appear anymore in that dungeon and die because it's a starter in that game. And the reason it appears, like, Ninetales appears right here. This is to Chico, by the way. Ooh, self-cure, that's pretty good. That's an IQ skill that makes you just naturally, like, cure yourself from status faster. Nice. Anyway, yeah, Ninetales appears here because Vulpix appears here in the previous dungeon, and, you know, that's the natural progression of things. But I just find it a bit strange that in Sky, they remove Vulpix from the future dungeon, and yet Ninetales is actually still here in Sky. Which is, like, pretty atypical. Usually, I've mentioned this, but usually, like, starter species or, like, NPC species or stuff will usually not actually appear in dungeons until at least the post-game. Oh boy, what else do we got in this room first? Decoy Orb. Decoy Orb is, like, pretty decent, actually. Here, let's use this Luminous Orb to grab this crap. And then, guess I'll just eat an apple real quick. God knows we have enough of them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that convention I was at, Retro Game Con, it was called. It was good. It was a fun time. I've never been to any convention like that before, so it was really nice to get out and meet a whole bunch of people who also are big nerds for video games and, you know, talk about them and stuff and just get to play shit with people. It was a really, really good time. And of course, what I did for most of the event is I just, you know, was prowling around the one corner on the free play wall where they had all the fighting games set up, and I was just waiting to match people, and got some good games. It was a good time. I won't go into it, though. That's kind of about fighting games, and a PMD video is a little off topic. But just know, it was a good, and it was a fun time, and I would love to do it again in the future. I really, really wish our best response for monster houses was not full fear. I wish it was something a little better, but... bit annoying. Speaking of annoying, as you can see, Vespiquen has pressure as well, although it also dies very quickly to Ember, so it's not so bad. Wouldn't be surprised if we have to pop a Max Elixir before we head out of here. Now, I really don't want to jinx myself, but we're already on floor 18, and this has been going pretty smoothly so far. Nothing completely stupid has happened yet. Keyword yet. Pretty sure we already have a Focus Punch TM that we're still not even using. Move on. As you can see, yeah, I'm making just, you know, just booking through this dungeon without really looking around for anything, because I don't want to stay here, because this place is annoying. The Royal Gummy, I will eat that myself. And I got nothing from it, but whatever. Okay, there we go. This is like the fucking third time that's happened in this playthrough. Probably more than 3 times, where I've hyped something up as being super annoying or hard or something, and then I just clear it with no problems. I don't know, that went by pretty quickly, I feel like, just because I was able to talk over the whole thing, and I also got really lucky. No monster houses, there's like one incident with an annoying trap. I rarely got ganged up on by enemies. You know, that was extremely smooth and efficient and easy, and now we don't have to worry about it again for a long time. Or, you know, potentially ever, depending on if I ever decide to go back there. So, you know, good shit. Also, this is something they never really explain, but they explain that, you know, if you remove a time gear from the area and time stops, if you're in the area, then you'll also become frozen in time. Which is very strange, considering, like, I guess if you enter the area after time has finished freezing, you won't be frozen, because, you know, time is stopped in this area already, and yet we're able to move around just fine. And yeah, as you can see, he removes the time gear, and we don't get frozen or anything, because time's already stopped. Wow. Tree Shroud Forest, over. Easy, you know, I'm just so fucking godlike that I would never struggle with any of this shit, you know? No, I don't think that's quite the case. There's still a few more, like, struggle dungeons left, but we are very close to the end of the game, which I've said several times, but, like, I definitely mean it this time. This whole, time freezing in different places, by the way, this shit is becoming on set, like, this thing is setting in extremely rapidly, and it's kind of strange. Oh, there's another one, by the way. But no, like, just the sheer speed at this point where it turns out, like, oh yeah, just time stopping all over the fucking place. It's like, damn, this is happening really quickly. Like, uh-oh. Again, it's also very unclear, like, I'm pretty sure I brought this up last time, I don't remember. It's been a few days since I recorded it, but it's very unclear how much time actually passes when you're in the future, you know, so I have no idea if it's been, like, weeks or, like, months or even, like, a day or two or some shit since we got sent into the future, so it's really hard to judge this shit. Anyway, I guess we have our new goal is to find the hidden land somewhere. There goes Grovile. I'll have to get some milk from the store. You know, if we're trying to lay low, I think just kind of being out on the beach, just in the open where anybody could see us, is not a good plan, but at the same time, there for some reason seems to, like, never be anyone here at the beach for 99% of the game. Not exactly very hidden. There's a path at the crossroads just leading right down here, but I guess nobody in town feels like getting any sand in their fur or some shit. I don't know. Let's go to the guild. Another dialogue option that I don't even, like, remember being in the game that also doesn't really matter, even. Can't speak. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the pessimist option and say I don't know, because, I mean, she does make a really good point, but, it's gonna sound insane. fucking, like, modern Pokemon-esque dialogue option, by the way, where you just get one choice to pick. I don't know, maybe if it makes the scene feel just a little more interactive or something, I don't know. There's another one, by the way. You know, I'm perfectly okay with not going back to the guild, because everybody there is kind of a shithead, but whatever. That'll be enough for this time. Next time, let's go back to the guild, so I'll see you then.